CS, Honorable CS, welcome. Welcome back home. This is the place where you honed your political career. I believe you're more familiar with this house than the ministry. And therefore, let me take this opportunity to welcome you back, where you're going to engage with the senators, basically to answer a few questions. And having served as a senator, you know the rules of this house. Of course, you're not a member of the house anymore, but that should be a big added advantage, that you're very much familiar with the terrain of this house, with the rules and procedure, and therefore, just like a fish, you should find yourself swimming with a lot of ease as you take to the podium. I will therefore call upon Senator Lelegwe to proceed and ask his question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to ask the following questions. 3 questions to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration. 1, what's the state of security in Samburu West constituency in light of the deployment of the Kenya Defence Forces, KDF, to support the ongoing operations? 2, what measures is the government taking to enhance security in Samburu County, especially Samburu West constituency? 3, could the Cabinet Secretary indicate the plans in place to facilitate communities from Longewan, Pura, Nolkera, Losuk areas which vacated their lands following directives by the Interior Cabinet Secretary to safely return and commence cultivation in view of the ongoing rains? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary, kindly proceed to respond to that question.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for inviting me. Mr. Speaker, sir, it's a great honor and privilege for me to appear before this House. I have fond memories of the 10 years I spent as a member of this House. I feel honored and gratified to be back. The only disadvantage is I cannot sit at the place where I used to sit. But other than that, I'm good. I'm happy to see old and new colleagues. And Mr. Speaker, I'll do my best to respond to the question raised by the distinguished Senator for Samburu, the Honorable Dr. Lelegwe, as follows. Mr. Speaker, on 13th of February this year, the government of Kenya decided to deploy a joint operation for purposes of restoring normalcy in Samburu and 4 other counties in Northern Rift Valley. Mr. Speaker, sir, this came after serious incidences of breach of peace. And therefore, it was required that the efforts of the National Police Service, which is the organ responsible for internal security, be augmented and supported by the Kenya Defense Forces in accordance to our Constitution. Mr. Speaker, sir, the government had two options. One, to deploy the KDF to support the National Police Service pursuant to Article 241, 3B, whereby the National Police Service is still in charge and leads the operation, but gets support from the KDF, that support being defined in the operational order agreed upon between the Inspector General of the National Police Service and the Chief of the Defense Forces. The second option which was available was to apply Article 241 3C, where the police would cede the way and allow the military to move in, restore peace and order, and retreat back and allow the police to continue after the operation. It was decided to apply 241 3B first because the architecture of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, envisages an escalation of measures where the government